Welcome back, everyone. This is Sheepdog Smokey, and we got a big one here for us. Boston Globe pulls piece by opinion writer who lamented not pissing on neoconservative writer's dinner. The Boston Globe has pulled an opinion piece by a writer who regretted not pissing on neoconservative Bill Kristol when he was a waiter. First of all, Kristol is not conservative. One of the biggest regrets of my life is not pissing in Bill Kristol's salmon. I was waiting on the disgraced neoconservative pundit and chief Iraq War cheerleader about 10 years ago at a restaurant in Cambridge, and to my eternal dismay, some combination of professionalism and pusillanimity prevented me from appropriately seasoning his entree. A ramekin of blood on the side might have been a better option. Come to think of it, he always did seem really thirsty for the stuff. The piece, entire headlined, Keep Kirsten Nielsen Unemployed and Eating Grubhub Over Her Kitchen Sink, was penned by writer Luke O'Neill. The Globe eventually altered the story and added a note on top. A version of his column originally published did not meet Globe standards and has been changed. The Globe regrets the previous tone of the piece, the note read, but now the piece is gone altogether. The link found here takes readers to a page that says page not found. O'Neill is furious with the move. Absolute brain genius by the Globe to edit my story 3 times and then take it down altogether and put up a note saying I'm not on staff instead of perhaps standing by a long-time contributor and siding with labor instead of bad faith critics who would hate them no matter what, O'Neill said Thursday on Twitter, according to the Washington Post. In his piece, O'Neill said he regrets not having micturated on the meal ordered by Kristol, the former founder and editor-at-large of the Weekly Standard, and goes on to bash outgoing Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirsten Nielsen, accusing her of being a reluctant triggerman for Donald Trump's inhumane policies of ethnic cleansing. He called on restaurants to eject current and former administration officials and implied that maybe waiters should tamper with their food, while saying he wasn't advocating that. As for the waiters out there, I'm not saying you should tamper with anyone's food, as that could get you into trouble, O'Neill wrote. You might lose your serving job, but you'd be serving America, and you won't have any regrets years later. Daily Caller opinion writer Eddie Zipperer caught one of the edits before the story disappeared. You can see it here. O'Neill ripped the mainstream media for scolding protesters who haven't harassed Trump administration officials like Press Secretaries Sarah Sanders and Nielsen, as well as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Sadly, the scolding seems to have done its job, O'Neill wrote. It's been quite a while since we've been treated to a soulless Trumpist going viral for going hungry, and the sacristy of the restaurant seems to have held. The page got in touch with O'Neill, and he defended the piece. I really like the lead, O'Neill told the Post in an interview late Thursday night. I think it's a really good lead. It's evocative. But he said the point of his column wasn't to encourage people to actually do that. I wasn't really advocating to piss in someone's food. That's crazy, said O'Neill, who had been writing weekly columns for the Globe. But I do think people should be made uncomfortable in public. I don't think that's a radical idea. O'Neill said he wrote the article in his usual tongue-in-cheek style, with the intention of arguing that people could moderately inconvenience the lives of those who carry out policies of ethnic cleansing and family separation and stealing babies and putting babies in cages and losing babies across the country. And O'Neill was clear about his future with the Globe. They completely cut my throat on this, he told the Post. I will never write for them again. Now, I would like to tell Mr. O'Neill a few things. The cages happened under Barack Obama. There are no children being ripped from their families' arms. There are no children being lost across the country. There is no ethnic cleansing. None of this is true. You'll note that when Donald Trump proposed removing troops from Syria, the very same people who lambasted the former presidents for going to war in any country lambasted President Donald Trump for ending a war. We now must not withdraw from Syria because, of course, that would make Donald Trump look good. We must not enforce immigration laws because that would make Donald Trump look good. Barack Obama is the one you want to have an issue with for having people in fenced-off areas on military cots with nothing but a thermal blanket, which amounts to a piece of foil for their bedding. That is not happening under President Donald Trump. You have been reading too much of the Washington Post and watching too much CNN, where everything imaginable is attributed to Donald Trump. It is only a matter of time before Donald Trump is said to be the reincarnation of Lucifer himself, with everyone who voted for him being a demon from the pits of hell, and thus not a human, and thus not eligible to vote. Liberals are so hell bent on stealing every ounce of power they can that lies and innuendo are only the weakest of their tools. The mantra that people should be made uncomfortable is nothing more than criminal harassment. Do I have a right to walk into a restaurant in San Francisco and make city officials feel uncomfortable because their city is running in feces and needles through the streets and the homeless epidemic is only growing? And of course, that city is where Zarate, a multi time deported illegal alien, stole a firearm from a law enforcement official and killed Kate Steinle with it. Do I have a right to go to Oakland and make Mayor Libby Schaff feel uncomfortable in public because she warned criminal illegal aliens? Not all of them had broken other laws, but they had come into the country illegally, but some had. She warned them from her official position as mayor of Oakland that Immigration and Custom Enforcement was coming to their town. So she aided and abetted criminal activity. Do I have a right to make her feel uncomfortable for doing that? No, the answer is very simple, because that is criminal harassment. I can guarantee one thing: this is going to escalate further and further and further until someone goes too far. What happens then will probably break the entire system. You're going to see a story of someone trying to make someone feel uncomfortable by threatening them with a knife or maybe even a gun and having that person defend their life, and someone will get hurt horribly. If the so called warrior for justice, being the liberal, manages to kill the conservative who they were just trying to make feel uncomfortable, then they will be, of course, lightly reprimanded and told, you must moderate your tone. If the target of said attack defends themselves and the liberal ends up injured or worse, of course we will need to strip all conservatives of all handguns, baseball bats, knives, cars, homes, everything and anything that might be used when a liberal decides you don't have the right to move around the country that you are a citizen of. It's insanity like this that leads to violence, and unfortunately we already have widespread violence from the left. Just in 2016, 2017, we had Antifa rioting on the college campus of University of California, Berkeley, rioting and destroying a public campus. One of them swinging a bicycle lock on a chain, trying to strike people in the head. That's attempted murder, by the way, boys and girls. Why is it liberals feel they have a right to harass people so horribly that they make them fear for their safety? But conservatives do not even have a right to say, learn to code, to actually being tongue in cheek to journalists who told that to coal miners who were in no position to do so. Why is it conservatives are not allowed to go to a restaurant because they are conservatives, but liberals are allowed to go into said restaurant, not as customers, and harass people until they leave when they are in fear for their lives or their physical well being? The plain and simple answer is liberals do not have those rights. Everyone has the exact same rights enumerated in the Constitution, and I will be very clear about this. Happiness is not one of them. Marriage is not one of them. Healthcare, not in there. Pay, not in there. You have no right to force anyone to sanction and praise something that they feel is a violation of their faith. You have no right to take from someone to give to another. You have no right to be happy. You have a right to the pursuit of happiness, which implies a chance you may fail in said pursuit. But liberals don't like these answers, because when they're told you don't have a right to urinate or to exsanguinate yourself into someone's food in a restaurant, which is a horrible idea even to consider, then it is their right to protest. But if a conservative wants to actually stand peacefully off to the side, not harassing anyone, with a sign declaring they are pro-life, liberals flip out and try to assault them. Because, of course, I have a right not to see what I don't want to see. And we're drilling this into students at multiple universities the country over by allowing them to control the university because someone writes Trump on a sidewalk in chalk. Or a professor won't let students skip a major exam because they were so traumatized by the country not obeying them and voting for the person they want. There is an old saying it's always darkest before the dawn. The problem is that when it starts getting dark, you know you're headed for the night. And that's not an instant transition to dawn. You have to go through said darkness. And unfortunately, we're now entering the darkness. A country so divided that roughly half of them firmly believe they have a right to destroy your food, to contaminate it with bodily fluids, to assault you if you don't obey them in total. The other half simply believes I have the rights that are enumerated in the Constitution. I don't know where it's going to end, but I don't believe it will end in any way good. It will end in an ugly manner. And then we will see the infighting in Congress and the courts and the media escalate tenfold or more. Democrats will be demanding that the political prisoner be released because, of course, he did not intentionally contaminate someone's food in a way that could have made them grievously ill. He was protesting for justice for minority peoples. But if a conservative defends their life against a rabid attacker, well, of course, they are an unhinged conservative right wing nut who must be jailed for the rest of their life, and all who believe like them must be stripped of all weaponry that we don't want them to have. Orwell is spinning in his grave because this idiot, Boston Globe former writer, is firmly on the side of punishing wrongthink. Read 1984 if you haven't. If you have, reread it. I read it at least once a year. Anytime a government begins punishing wrongthink, you are moving toward totalitarian tyrant rule. And I know for a fact that more than half of the country will stand up and say no. And I know when that happens, it's going to get really ugly. But I've talked long enough. I want to know what you think. Make sure to keep the comments classy, keep them civil, because as always, we don't learn from argument, we learn from debate. Also, please like the video and subscribe and ring notifications so that you're able to be the first notified and first aware of new content as it is posted. I am, as I've said in previous videos, working more on a schedule now of the 4s and 10s, and I am being very strict to do that during the week, especially Monday through Friday. Weekends may be a bit more or less. I will reserve that Saturday and Sunday are more free form. While 4s and 10s on Monday through Friday are my established schedule, so you should be able to find me there. As always, if you're a subscriber with notifications on, you'll be notified as soon as something posts. Until the next time, though, everyone have a wonderful day.